Staying with me right now on the panel, Ben Wikler, Washington director of MoveOn.org and host of The Good Fight, and Javier Manjarres, managing editor of the Shark Tank. So everybody's just going to be singing Kumbaya, holding hands across the aisle. Ben, can Republicans and Democrats work together possibly in the next couple of years? What are your thoughts on that?
It's conceivable. It's happened before. I know it sounds like a historical impossibility at this point. But look, as Senator Reid said, he has been in the minority and he's helped to pass laws. There's a long tradition of members of Congress reaching out across the aisle to do that. Really, the question is for Leader McConnell about what kind of Senate he wants to run. Is this a Senate that's going to, essentially try to operate like a senatorial version of the House, in which the only question is whether you can get a majority of the Republican caucus together, or is it going to look for common ground that extends across both parties? I think what you're hearing Reid say is that his priority won't be to prevent Republicans from racking up points by passing bills. His priority will be to pass bills that everyone can agree on. And, I applaud him for that.
Well, Javier, should Senator Reid be taken at his word? Quite possibly, can we get anything done on immigration or even funding the war against ISIS? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely not. Look, he said he worked with Republicans when he was the minority leader. But when he was the majority leader, how many bills were actually signed that came over from the House? How many bills are sitting on his desk as we speak with him doing nothing about it? I don't buy it. I think what he'll do with immigration reform. I think he'll go with what the president says. That's their one last ditch effort to help themselves moving forward in 2016. But I don't think he's going to work with Republicans. I think he'll show that he's willing to. But at the end of the day, I don't think he will. I think he'll still hold up President Obama's failed agenda.
Well, it's going to be fascinating theater as Loretta Lynch will be going before senators, the position obviously of Attorney General. Ben, I'm going to leave it to you. Will she be confirmed, and just how hard will the Republicans be on Loretta Lynch?
I think that she will be confirmed, and I think the reason for that is that this isn't really the battle that Republicans want to choose as their first, drawing of the battle lines. This is the president choosing who he wants to serve in his government. The Democrats didn't block the confirmation of attorneys general under President George W. Bush, and I don't think the Republicans want to choose that as their first signature fight right now.
I agree with Ben, but I think they're going to take a pound of flesh out of her and President Obama and hold her while they're at it.
Yeah, I think Javier, you're right. I think that obviously they're going to take on the Holder record as much as they're going to take on Loretta Lynch, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens as far as what happens in those hearing rooms. Also wanted to play you guys a gaffe from Vice President Joe Biden, so take a listen to this and comment.
In the end, this all means economic growth and jobs to help build the middle class. So let me be clear what I mean by the middle class. I have a lot of very good economists that work for me. And when I say middle class, the first time I said it, and I'm referred to as middle class Joe, as if, and in Washington that's not meant as a compliment. It means you're not sophisticated. But folks, look.
So Ben, according to the vice president, the middle class isn't sophisticated. What are your thoughts on that? And is that why they voted Democrats out of office?
I think it's pretty clear that what Vice President Biden was saying is that he's middle class, and there are people in Washington who look down on the middle class. Joe Biden is not like Mitch McConnell with tens of millions of dollars in family money. He's a middle class guy. He's a guy who proudly takes the train from Delaware to, when he was in the Senate, for years and years, took the train from Delaware to D.C. He wasn't flying in some kind of helicopter. And I think, there is this challenge, which is that so many members of Congress and so many powerful people and lobbyists in D.C. are fundamentally catering to the interests of and connected to the very top of American society. There are some horrifying studies about how middle-class policy preferences have very little impact on what Washington actually gets done. So I'm with the vice president as a member of the middle class myself. I'd like D.C. to tune in more to what the middle class actually needs and cares about and stop looking down its nose.
And Javier, real quickly, what are your thoughts?
This just tells us one thing that we've all known, that Vice President Big Effing Deal Biden is nothing more than a sophisticated gaffe-prone clown. That's it.
All right, we're going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Javier. Thanks a lot, Ben, for that. And we're going to be right back right here on America's Forum.